Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of Javier in the Air. This is a special Mother's Day episode, so it goes out to all the moms out there, all the moms I know, all the moms I don't know. You know who you are, so let's get to it. Um, I have a couple of things I want to get on the air, but let's first knock out Mother's Day. Today is Mother's Day, like I said, May 9th, 2021. May be a little bit different for you all than you've had in the past. I know last year we had a very truncated Mom's Day where we got to see, or I got to see my mother, and we went. My brother and sister and I went to go see her with along with some other family members, and we got to sit out on the back deck and keep distant by groups depending on who you were with. So I was pretty much in a group of one, and we sat there. We enjoyed conversation. We enjoyed seeing each other because we hadn't. I don't think I'd seen my mother in probably 4 months prior to that. So remember, this is May, so this is deep into the lockdown of everything. So we remained masked as much as we could, except when eating. We didn't have a lot of people there, and we just kind of kept everything going and socially distant. So this year, my mother is actually making the trip out here. She is vaccinated. I am vaccinated. My siblings are vaccinated. My nieces and nephews, as far as much as possible, they are vaccinated. So it's going to be a little bit different. So I'm just curious as to what you may be doing this year that was different than last year. Are you able to see your mother? Moms, are you able to see your kids? If they're older and out of the house, of course. If they're not, then they're already there, so you're already seeing them. So just a quick drop me a line. Let me know what's going on. Let me know how you're celebrating today for your mother, which I hope everybody has the opportunity to at least talk to their mother, if not see her directly in person. And so I hope you're doing something special. I have some special gifts that I got for her that I hope she'll be excited about. And so I hope everybody has an opportunity to do something like that, especially now that we are in the lesser end, lower end, easier end, whatever you want to call it, as far as COVID is concerned. There are a lot of things now that allow for us to get together. A lot of the restrictions have been lessened, so I just hope you get an opportunity to go out there and see your mom. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to scratch my nose and scratch my face, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the projects that I've been going on around the house. Because of Mother's Day, I wasn't able to schedule someone after all. They were going to spend time with their mom, so I said, by all means, you need to do that. So, some of the projects that I'm working on still, I'm kind of, one of them I'm aggravated about, is the gardening. Turns out my thumb is not as green as I thought it would be. Today, actually, I don't know if I can get it on the air or not, but today I am going to go out to my garden bed and see how the onions and the Brussels sprouts and the golden beets look. Now is about the time when you will harvest. I've been told it's better to harvest in the morning, so I will do that. I'm going to go out and I'm going to check them today to see if maybe I can harvest some tomorrow. So I will make a video of it and see what I can do to see what I got. So I'm excited about that. That's not the aggravated part. The aggravated part is garden bed number two, i.e., the fruit bed, has got nothing. Literally, zilch, goose egg, nada, zip, bupkis. I don't know if it was the seeds that were not good. Sometimes that happens a lot, so there's a lot of turnover when it comes to seeds. Like you just let them know, and they'll send you out a replacement pack, or depending on the company, they may not, and they're like, "That's just how the way it is. You got to order some more from us." So I'm a little miffed about that. My pink bananas that I was hoping by now would at least have something to show you all. And once again, to let everybody know, banana is not a tree, it is a plant. So I am planting them in my garden bed, or at least I tried to plant them and did what was necessary, which was to soak them in warm to hot water for 72 hours. So I put them in a thermos that I had to try to maintain the temperature as high as I could, or maintain the temperature where it was at. And I put the seeds in there and I let them go 72 hours and I planted them. And it is probably been about 6 to 7 weeks now. Absolutely no growth, and not even a sprout, not even a little seedling, nothing coming out that would tell me that there's growth there. So I'm gonna have to take a look at them either today or tomorrow and see if I can figure out one, if there's something in there, two, if that something in there is actually growing, so then I can just put it back. I have a feeling not, because I've seen nothing. So that was a fail. So I don't know if I'm going to try to try them again, the pink bananas. I'd like to try them again. I don't know if I will try them with the seed pack that I have, because I don't think they're any good. So my next round, well, okay, before I go on to the next round. So besides the right beside the pink bananas was going to be some uh, purple carrots. And I got the seeds from the same company, and I also got some multicolored carrots. Now, those, according to people that are in the know in this area, very easy to plant, very easy to grow. They grow and they do a fantastic job. Farmer James and Farmer Zida have gotten carrots before, and they haven't had any problem with them. Well, I've had a problem with them. So of course, I didn't use their seed pack. I used my seed pack for the purple and for the multicolored. And again, the back of the package, the directions are just like, hey, just get them out there, plant them, and then in a couple weeks, when you see them, you start doing this and blah blah blah. Well, it's been more than a couple weeks. In fact, let's see. So the pink bananas are probably closer to 8 weeks, and the corn's closer to 7 weeks, and I've seen zero, absolutely nothing. So, unfortunately, I am now trying to determine what to do about those. So, the third part of it was I was trying to grow some white alpine strawberries. And I did what they recommended on the pack, same company that got the seeds from me, I got from last time, of the other two. And so I planted those, and inside in little organic pots that I got from Lowe's. And the organic pots are made from some hemp or some material or something that once you get whatever you're growing in there growing, you can just dig a hole and put the pot in there rather than uproot it from the pot. So you don't get you get less shock, but also because it's just going to degrade eventually in the soil. So I got those going about 5 weeks ago, no, 6 weeks ago. And I've been keeping them in the house. I was bringing them outside every time there was sun. I was keeping them moist, keeping the soil moist at all times, spraying it with a little spritzer every morning. I would come downstairs before I logged into work, and I would, and then I would just leave them there and set the blinds so that the sun, the morning sun, at least 3 to 4 hours, if not more, would be hitting those plants. Well, or plants, quote unquote. It turns out I've probably just been watering dirt. And by the way, yes, this is not just I went out and grabbed the soil in my backyard and threw it into a pot. This is actual uh, approved, certified. This is the soil that you're supposed to use to get things going out in my garden beds and in the pots that I have inside the house. So I've been watering mud for what did I say? 6 weeks. So 5 to 6 weeks. So again, nothing coming up. Again, the same company that I got the other seeds from. So I'm batting zero. I think all the seeds that I've gotten from that company, um, and I don't want to say them on the podcast. However, if you want to direct message me, I will let you know. I got nothing. So the plan, like I was going to talk about earlier, the plan now, because of the time of the season, that's already 5 or 6 weeks in, no, 6 to 7 weeks already into it, um, you can't really start from seedlings again. Though, about a week ago, I was given some corn from Farmer James. He gave me some corn seeds, and he said, "Well, here, if you're not getting anything out of that bed, just plant these seeds, and they should come out quite well." So I'm using the seeds, and by the way, the onions and the beets and the Brussels sprouts all came from Farmer James. So wherever he's getting his seeds from, they're working. So if you want to know where he's getting them from, direct message me as well. So anyway, what I've been doing is I planted the corn. They said you should start seeing seedlings in about 10 days. So we are uh, about 5 days in. So I say a week, but it was really 5 days. So in about Thursday, I should hopefully see something. And by the end of next weekend, so the next time I do another podcast, we should see something as well. So let's keep our fingers crossed for Javier on that one. Okay, so I planted corn. I'm going to have to go out to a nursery and see if I can get some small plants of some fruit. I'm not sure what it might be. I might just break down, like everybody's been trying to tell me, and break down and get some of the things that everybody else does around here. So, as you know, in previous podcasts, I talked about how um, I didn't want to do that because then what's the point of having, I mean, it's nice personally, but then what's the point of having something that everybody else is growing? I refuse still to grow tomatoes because there are a ton of people I know growing tomatoes. James and Zyda are growing kale and uh, romaine. And so I'm like, okay, well then it's pointless for me to grow kale and romaine because they're not going to, we won't have anything to trade. So, and I know a bunch of people growing tomatoes. I know a bunch of people growing beans, green beans, and a bunch of people growing this, that, and the other. I mean, they're growing onions too, but I just wanted to get onions going because I wanted to make sure that I knew how to grow things. And onions seem by far the easiest, and they are. And then also on top of that, the Brussels sprouts. Not a lot of people do, so I thought, okay, this is still something I can do that will be different than other people. So, um, but now I may have to concede, or I am going to concede and go to the nursery and see if I can get some plants that I can plant, that I can grow, that will be good for this time of year. What they are, I don't know yet. I haven't gone to the nursery. I've been putting it off. Maybe I'll go during the week, during the day, and just see if I can talk to someone out there about what's going on. Okay, so that is the gardening, which is why you haven't seen a lot of gardening because I haven't gotten much. I'm going to look into whether the onions are ready to harvest or not. Okay, so there's that. Um, I'm working on the side gate over here, the large gate. It's 5 foot gate that I had put in by Texas Vinyl Siding. Thanks, you guys. You guys did good. I'm sorry, Texas Vinyl Fencing. They also do not siding. They do fencing. So it's just Texas Vinyl Fencing, and they do a great job. And they did a great job. However, I wanted to make sure that the little wheel on the gate didn't get bogged down in the mud all the time because that side the grass doesn't grow as well, and so I thought it would be a good idea to put in some pavers and just kind of sand it up and do all sorts of things with it. So I'll show you that here in a minute. So that's that project. I did uproot some rose that was dying by my tree. I also did some more uprooting of stuff. I think I encountered, I want to say like poison oak, poison ivy, uh, something along those lines because I got some real nasty blisters and bright red scratches, and I've been scratching myself like horribly, and I've been putting cream on it. And at first I didn't know what it was, and I was just kind of scratching it, and like I like to scratch around it because I thought maybe they were fire ant bites. But I don't remember getting bit. and one of them got pretty bad. It looks really bad. So I'm thinking that it was probably poison oak, poison ivy, and I didn't really have an idea about it, so and I just kept scratching it. And when I was at work one day, and then someone looked at it and was like, "Jesus Christ, what the hell is that?" So I'm taking care of that, but I'm still doing stuff outside. So I want to show you the fence project. I'm going to talk a little bit over it. So, but I want you to take a look, and then we'll come back. So here's the fence. Actually, it's the sidewalk project. So it's the fence sidewalk project. Here we go. Okay, so here we are with the sidewalk project. I like to call it a sidewalk project. It's actually just in front of the gate. So what I have here are two different types of pavers, three different sizes. The outer ring you see is more of a gray slate kind of look to it paver that I bought, and I didn't know the size was wrong, but I went ahead and I didn't know the color was wrong. I thought I was getting the inner ones and it was all going to be one. But after I bought it, I thought it'd be cool to have them anyway, so I kept them. And so here they are. They were about $3 a piece out at Lowe's. And so what I did first, if you see that black in the center area, that is actually in replace of putting sand down. You put it down, it acts it acts as a weed barrier and as for where you want to put your pavers. So it saves a lot of time and it saves a lot of money because you're not putting it out sand first to lay out your pavers. And so they're about 6 feet rectangular, and they're about $6 a piece. So I went ahead and laid down the area that I want. I dug it down just a couple inches. I didn't want to go anything crazy deep because I'm trying to keep it flat so that the wheel of the gate will ride along this instead. So I went with the outer 298 a paver around in that rectangular pattern that you see there. And so then after that, I started applying the inner pavers. Now the inner pavers are, I think, the smaller ones are 7 by 7 by 2 inch, and the longer ones are 11 by 7 by 2 inch. The outer ones are actually 11 by 7 by, I think, 3.5 or 4 inch, so they are a little bit different. So anyway, so I decided to do this pattern for now. I haven't put in the sand. I still have sand that I'm going to come over the top with, again, as another barrier, and again to also keep the rocks in a nice tight formation. This is where I'm at. I'm going to try to do some more after today's podcast if I can, but it looks like it's going to rain a little bit, so might not be able to. But I just wanted to get that started and show you where I'm at. Okay, so that's the continue. Now that's the start of the sidewalk gate project. Hoping that it does well. I did have a mishap where I was trying to keep the gate as far away as possible when I laid down the bricks or the pavers, and I tore off the wheel and I tore off the wheel. So which turns out maybe not be a bad idea after all because I think I probably went a little bit higher than um, was expected. And so now I can move up the wheel and screw it in where I need to so that it sits better than just where it was sitting because it was going to have to bump up. And so hopefully that's okay and it doesn't change the gate at all so that it still closes as expected, which is what I'm expecting. So um, let's see, what else? I'm still looking, and I'm sure I'm beginning to bore people because it's just me. Here we are in May, and I've really haven't had a lot of interviewees. So I'm always looking for people to interview on my show. No politics, no religion. There are a ton of shows that do that. Go find them. I am not going to be doing that on this show. I've promised some people that I would not, and there's a very particular reason why. And if you know me well enough, you know why I'm going to not have any of those on the show. Okay, so if you're passionate about something, I'm always looking for people to talk to that are passionate about. I'm going to have something at the end that I found really cool that I talked to someone this weekend and I thought it was really cool. Some of the advice that he talked about. So if you're passionate about gaming, you're passionate about your business, you have a business and you want to get it on here, remember free publicity, no matter how many or how large or how small it is, it's free and it's always good for your business. It's never going to hurt. So if you're interested, please let me know. I'm still trying to get a co-host. I might be able to convince maybe James and Zaida, or convince my brother, or convince someone else to come on the show and be a co-host for a special episode. And we'll see. I'm going to be doing the panel here soon. I just got to figure out what we're going to drink. So there's a lot of things that we can drink. I know Candace is a huge has a huge interest in different types of beers and alcohol, and I know my brother does, and I know James does, and I know Jesse does as well. Even though he may not be able to make the next couple, because Jesse is now a father. Everyone, yes, my cousin Jesse just had, or he didn't have it. Let me be clear on this Mother's Day before I get a bunch of bad emails and comments from people. His wife just had a very lovely daughter. Congratulations to them both. I know she did put in the work, and now it's time for him to do diaper duty. Yeah, I saw your post, Jesse. You should be the main guy on the main person on diaper duty, by the way. So anyway, congrats to them. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it to a panel anytime soon, but we wish him the best of luck, and wish him that when he gets to sleep, he gets to sleep. Same for her as well. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. I want to do a quick moment of Zen. I'm not stealing this from Jon Stewart. I know he had a moment of Zen, and I'm calling this a moment of Zen. I should call it something else. Let me just say Zen moment. This is a Zen moment. I'm gonna try to start adding this when and where I can. I was out for my walk this morning. I got in about 3.5 miles, and I decided to go a different way. If you're in the Cedar Park area and you're near my house, then you may know where this is. So I went out this time. I went out to the right again down El Salito Parkway, which is, well, I'm right on the border of Austin and Cedar Park, by the way. They may even still consider me unincorporated Cedar Park. That's a whole nother thing that I could get into. But again, politics. So I'm not going to. So you head out, you go right here on El Salito Parkway, you pass the school on the left, and you turn left on a road called Old Mill. So Old Mill actually dumps you out on Anderson Mill. So then you take a left on Anderson Mill, and so you're coming this way back until you get to, or at least until I got to a 620. I took a left, came down 620 till I hit El Salito Parkway again, turned left, and came and then turned to right into Hickory Drive. So that was about a little over 3.5 miles, or about 3.5 miles. In fact, I might be able to tell you for sure what that is. I know everybody's just hanging on the edge of their seat for this. So yeah, it was about 3.35 miles is what it's saying. So 3.35 miles. I went about 10:30 this morning. Got back about 11:30 this morning. Wasn't moving very fast. Excuse me, my nose has been itching me horrendously all week, and wasn't a bad walk. So what are some of the walks that you like to do? What are some of the routes that you do? If you live in my area, what are some of the interesting things to do? Because or where to walk. Now, I'm probably going to upset some people with this next thought, but I like to walk, and I think I mentioned this before. I like to walk in my neighborhood. Yeah, I could go down to Town Lake, and I could go to this park or that park, and I could, go to other places. I could drive, a half hour to an hour and go somewhere and walk that people find very pretty. But I like to be pretty much in my own head. I like to listen to music, mostly the Plimsolls and the Alarm lately. And so I will listen to them while I'm walking, and I just kind of zone out. I find it's less wear and tear on the body, but I get home and I'm really tired, and my body hurts a little bit, but it doesn't hurt while I'm walking because I'm kind of zoned out. So even though the nature is there all around me, and I will stop sometimes to see it, just like the one that I'm going to show you, but for the most part, I don't. I just kind of zone out in my head. I may even be looking, but I'm not really looking. I'm still aware of my surroundings, so I know I'm not going to get hit by a car or walk into the street and get hit by, the bikers, bicyclists, not the motorbikes, and be hit by people like that. So I'm still aware. So it's all good. I'm not pulling a Stephen King. For those of you who know about that, otherwise look it up. And so it's all good. I'm trying now to try to get something more so that we can have a Zen moment here for people. Just a quick, couple of minutes or so of the area that I walk in. If you walk in a very nice and beautiful area and you want to send me like a 30-second snippet or even a minute snippet, I can loop it so that it can go longer. So why don't you do that? And I'd love to be, especially if it's not in my area, for my cousins out in Ohio or for my cousins out in California. If you want to, or anybody out in those areas, I'm just trying to drop some names, then you can certainly send me a snippet and I will get it on the show and we'll talk a little bit about the area that you're in. So here's your Zen moment before we get to the beer. Hey everybody, so there was your Zen moment, if you will. That's a little area that's close to my house. It's on Anderson Mill Road. It's where I go do a lot of my walking. The place looked like it started to. They were trying to start to do something. They had laid out a bunch of white rocks, large white rocks, to use as a kind of a temporary road for the tractors and bulldozers to get onto it off of the curb from Anderson Mill. But it looks like this was about probably a couple months before the lockdown, so like maybe January, December of 2019, maybe they started doing some work on there, and then by June, July of 2020, they had stopped. Obviously, they either had lost their funding, or they just couldn't have it, afford it anymore, or they realized that it wasn't going to be viable at that time. So you get to see a little bit of nature, a little bit of nature destroyed, but then a little bit of nature coming back. So I hope you get to see all that in the little video. So before I move on to the beer, I wanted to do one more thing. So this past weekend, I was at a socially distanced barbecue that a friend of mine was gracious enough to host, and another friend of mine, her in-laws were in town, or actually my friend's parents were in town. I should say it that way. He's my friend as well. And I asked him what would be some words of advice to give someone who was not your child, because we all know there's times where you just don't listen to what your parents say, and whether it comes to bite you or not later on in life, we all know that there's just things that we don't listen to that come from our parents when someone else could tell you the exact same thing and you're like, wow, mind blown. That's great. So uh, on that note, I asked him what would be something that you would want to tell the younger generation about, what some of the things you in your life. And so um, he said, it put it a lot more eloquently than I'm going to say now because I can't remember it verbatim. But it was basically a spin on the don't sweat the small stuff. He talked a lot about working, because we had been talking about working and how we feel some of the younger generations, people younger than I, 20, 30 years younger, may not have the same work ethic that we have. But his words were um, really, enjoy. You have to enjoy life, and you have to enjoy the things that you do, and that includes work. And so, working somewhere, and I've always said this, but I was glad to be vindicated by someone more elder than I. That you should be somewhere that you love to work, that you love going to work, that you love hanging out with the people that are there, that you work with. Um, all the rest of it doesn't really matter overall. Like, the money doesn't really matter overall, and other things don't really matter overall. But if you can be somewhere that you're happy, then you should be there. And if you're not happy, you shouldn't be there. And I took that as meaning not just work because it does apply there, but everything in life really. I mean, if you're at a point in your life where you're miserable, then you need to find out, what do I need to do to change? Is it my job that makes me miserable? And a lot of people work a lot of hours. I work a lot of hours, even though I don't do a lot of overtime anymore. I still work a lot of hours, and so you have to be happy of where you're at. So you think about that. Are you miserable because you're living in a situation that you didn't want to be in, i.e., an apartment that sucks, and or a location that sucks, or that you find that it sucks. Yes, I said sucks a lot. So um, you have to find a way to reach a a nice healthy life balance. So if you're not happy with where you are, what can you do to go about it? I'm not saying, and I never will say, you just quit your job. I've been there close. I've been there really close, especially recently, where I just wanted to quit my job and just go and figure things out. But I am not. I know that would make me miserable. So I did not do that. But if there's something you think hard about your life that you can try to change, that may make you less miserable. And I'm not advocating anything crazy. I'm just saying, like, if you're living in a location you don't feel happy with yourself in, maybe it's the location that you need to change. Maybe it's time for you to pull up stakes and go somewhere else in the country. Maybe it's just a matter of, my apartment sucks and I'm going to move to another apartment. I know I hate to move, I hate to change, but I feel that this location is making me miserable. Maybe you realize, or come to realize, that the way you eat makes you miserable because you feel miserable after you eat. I know I've been there many a times where I've felt self-loathing after I've eaten too much. Not recently because I've cleaned up my act a lot, but there was times years ago when I didn't live here in the state of Texas where I would do that. And yet you just get in these ugly habits, these ugly cycles. I made that change by moving here. I started the changes that I wanted by moving here, and so I told myself I'm miserable where I was, which was outside of Atlanta, Georgia. I was miserable there. I had some good friends, but otherwise it was misery. So taking the words that my friend's dad said, I was not happy, so I had to make a decision as to what to do, and part of that decision was to move away from there, and it just so happened I moved here. So, and I think I've turned around a lot of stuff here. I still have my ups and downs. There's still days where I'm not happy, but I'm not miserable. And so, taking those words, remember to be happy where you can, and get the joy that you can, because, and we said, as we were talking about, life is not as long as everybody likes to think it is. I mean, you hear people in 90, 100 years, and you're like, wow, that's great. But are you really living those 90, 100 years? Now, like, again, like I said, it doesn't mean that you break the bank and you find yourself destitute a year later because you want to go and just do all the things that you've always wanted to do. That's not going to make you happy in the long run. You're going to be miserable like a year and a half from now. If you can do it, do it. But always with a little, grain of salt there, to try to remember that you're going to live longer probably than you expect. Not super long, because none of us do, but you're going to live longer than you expect. So always be aware of um, the time going forward. So don't live, always live in the moment. You can live in the moment, but don't always live in it. But overall, try to be happy. Try to be happy where you are. And if you're not, figure out what you can do to change it so you can be happy. So, all right, I'll get off the soapbox now. So, um, yeah, that got deep, but that got a little too deep for me as well. So now we're gonna lighten it up and we're gonna go and have some beer. So, this is Lakewood Brewing. I believe they're what is that? That is a 5.7 ABV. Lakewood Brewing is out of, where are they? Garland, Texas. So outside of Dallas, they are in Garland, Texas. Lakewood Brewing. This is called Tangerine Queen. So see if I can get it. Yeah, there you go. Tangerine Queen, Lakewood. Cool little thing. I also wanted it so I can build another board with my labels on it. So I'm gonna try it out now. And once again, I want to tag and mention the Boutique for being there for me for getting me this Tangerine Queen along with the other beers. I have about 9 or 10 beers, so you'll be seeing them over the next 9 or 10 weeks. And so here it is. Definitely, when I first popped the top, I had a strong smell of tangerine, so it's kind of gone away now. It's still there, but it's not as strong as when I first poured it. So let me now pour it. So it's a good little head to it. See if I can get the whole bottle in here. This is a good New Belgium glass that I have, and it's just right to be able to pour an entire can of beer in without it getting without getting overflow or anything, even with a good head. This is a citrus wheat ale brewed with orange peel with natural flavors. I'm pretty sure I've never done this before. And by the way, this should be beer number 137, 138, somewhere in there. I haven't been marking them as much as I should. I need to, so make sure that I have due diligence and factual recordings of this. So here we go. Definitely still smell the tangerine. So I mean, it's got a lot of tangerine peel in there. It's definitely like it's a citrus ale, like they said. Is it a citrus sweet ale? Yes, citrus sweet ale. So good smell to it. Nice head on it. Hmm. Well, that's a little disappointing. Um, it smells like a tangerine. Got a tangerine can to it. Uh, kind of a golden yellow, kind of a golden orange look to it, but it don't taste it. It doesn't have any tangerine in it. There's a little bit of a citrus taste to it. You definitely get the wheat to it, and it's definitely an ale. But like I said, I'm not getting any tangerine taste to it at all. I'm getting a little bit of the citrus, but not citrus that I can correlate that to being tangerine. I know it should be tangerine because it says tangerine. It's called Tangerine Queen, but I am not getting a tangerine taste to it, which I don't know if that's necessarily a good or bad thing for people. Some people may not like it. It goes down well. It's very refreshing. There's nothing wrong about it. It just is not, um, for its name, Tangerine Queen. You would think there would be something a little bit more of a punch to it as far as the tangerine goes, and it is not. So I'm still gonna give this 7 thumbs up out of 10. And like I said, it's not bad. It's just not the tangerine that I was expecting. So this is again Lakewood Brewing, 7 thumbs. Give it a shot. Go out to the Boutique. Say hi to Scott and Jana for me. I was just there recently for May the 4th be with you. Picked up some nice beers there. And this is a good beer. I'm going to finish this up. And while I'm working on getting this podcast out to you, I want to thank all the viewers for hanging in here this time. And I want to thank everyone who's been watching the show. If you like the show, please leave me a comment. If you'd like to subscribe. You can subscribe on my YouTube channel. If you have any words of advice, anybody that wants to contact me to be interviewed, please let me know. Send me a comment in the thread in the channel, or send me a direct message if you have me on Facebook. I'm also posting this on Nextdoor and in various chat rooms around that I can get to. So I hope everyone's having a good rest of the day. This is a somewhat pretty day out there, even though it's been overcast on and off. So get out there, enjoy yourself, be happy. If you are not, then work on it, and that's all good. That's all my life coach skills. That's it. And so I will see y'all again next week. I hope everyone has a good week. Thanks a lot.